For the next minute, I want you to focus on a detail of Cold War fieldcraft that rarely shows up in documentaries, never makes it into survival manuals, and yet quietly kept soldiers alive in temperatures that could turn exposed metal brittle. It wasn't a heater, it wasn't a stove, and it wasn't some high-tech insulated suit. It was a method so simple that most people overlook it because it doesn't look dramatic on camera. But for Cold War soldiers stationed in remote posts, deep bunkers, alpine positions, and forward observation points, it was the one technique that never ran out of fuel, never froze, never clogged, and never gave away their position with smoke. If you're a history enthusiast or a survivalist who studies techniques that actually worked under pressure, this is one you should understand because it's still completely usable today without batteries, appliances or electricity. The trick was the controlled thermal layering and passive heat retention system that militaries refined during the Cold War. Long before modern synthetic fabrics took over, soldiers relied on a deliberate combination of body-generated heat, moisture-wicking layers, improvised insulation barriers and heat traps inside bunkers or tents. The brilliance of the method was that it didn't produce heat. It preserved the heat the body was already making and prevented losses through conduction, convection and evaporation. In a world where heaters were noisy, dangerous, unreliable, or simply unavailable, this method was more dependable than anything powered or burning. During the Cold War, armies across Europe, Asia, and North America stationed troops in areas where temperatures fell well below freezing for weeks at a time. Heaters required fuel or electricity, both of which were logistical liabilities. A soldier in a listening post or a bunker couldn't risk exhaust fumes or smoke giving away his location. So armies refined what mountain climbers already understood. The human body is a furnace, and if you prevent that furnace from leaking heat, you don't need any other heat source at all. The key was stopping heat loss in the three places where it escaped fastest: the feet, the torso, and the head. Militaries designed inner layers that pulled sweat away from the skin so it didn't freeze mid-layers that held warm air and outer shells that blocked wind. This is knowledge you can still apply simply by using 3 layers. Something wicking, something insulating, and something protective, even if those materials today come from thrift shops or improvised field gear. Deep inside Cold War bunkers, heating wasn't always guaranteed. So engineers built structures that retained the heat generated by the crew. They used thick concrete, soil berms, small room configurations, and insulated alcoves to prevent heat loss. A bunker with 10 soldiers in it could rise several degrees just from body heat alone if the drafts were sealed and the walls included moisture barriers. You can use the same principle in a modern survival setting. If you need warmth in a shelter without a heater, reduce the internal volume by closing off unused corners with tarps or blankets. Add a reflective barrier, like a foil-backed layer, near the walls or ceiling. Keep air leaks controlled by using cloth or even damp soil to plug obvious gaps. The smaller the space and the tighter the insulation, the more every degree of body heat counts. One of the most overlooked Cold War techniques was the use of improvised ground insulation. A soldier could be fully layered, but if he sat or slept directly on frozen soil, conduction would drain his warmth faster than any wind. To fix this, soldiers used spruce boughs, cardboard, foam pads, or even folded uniforms to create a barrier. In frigid listening posts, a simple raised platform made from ammunition crates could keep a soldier warm for hours longer than bare ground. You can do this today by collecting dry vegetation and stacking it thickly, or by using clothing you don't need during sleep to build an insulating layer between you and the earth. Even in a garage, workshop or open shed, kneeling or sitting on an insulating pad makes a measurable difference in how long you can work before cold starts affecting dexterity. Moisture ruins insulation faster than anything. During the Cold War, soldiers learned to manage their sweat, breath condensation, and melting frost. They rotated inner layers, dried them against their bodies when needed, and created ventilation points in bunkers to prevent humidity buildup. Clothes stayed functional because they stayed dry. In many outposts, soldiers used the technique of heat banking, warming their clothing with their own body heat before sleeping, then trapping that warmth by tightening layers around the core. Clothing that starts the night warm stays warm longer. Soldiers also warmed boots by wearing them against their wool layers for a short time before putting them on in the morning. To use this today, place tomorrow's clothes between your sleeping layers for 20 minutes before dressing. Sit or rest in layers with zipped closures to charge the space inside your clothing. It's simple physics that your body heat is more effective when used deliberately rather than wasted early in the night. The remarkable thing about this Cold War method is that it works entirely without combustion or electricity. A soldier in a well-insulated shelter, wearing layered and dry clothing, elevated above cold ground, and practicing moisture control can stay warm for hours, even when temperatures fall dangerously low. The system is passive, quiet, and dependable in ways no heater ever truly is. If this breakdown gave you a deeper appreciation for Cold War fieldcraft, and you want more historically grounded, practical techniques that still hold up today, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share this guide with a fellow history enthusiast. Knowledge like this stays useful for life.